saying right now, they're not down. They don't know. It's the first time. If they listen, they'll hear it, you know. But they didn't get it. Only thing that happened that I paid attention to was Dr. Siddiqui was saying certain things about certain people, and that meant that's who he wanted to be in pocket. And all of them looking like, I ain't paying no attention to that nigga there. Gotta think about it. Right? You can see, look at it, what happened. That's exactly what happened. No, that's exactly what happened. For no reason, I'm not paying, none of us, I'm telling you, none of them fell in line with what Dr. said. And nobody was asking for that. He just, you could tell that he is putting it on, your picture on the wall and nailing it up and saying, this guy got the whole picture. You other guys are nice, but this guy has seen the whole thing, man. That's what he's saying then, so you can imagine where things are now. He's saying, this guy hasn't seen the whole picture. And I didn't even hear him. He said, this guy is the epitome of everything that's good. I said, dog, doc. So you get a nigga killed, man. Them niggas will run over you like a herd of buffaloes. You know, I mean, I couldn't interrupt this. But that's the way I could imagine. Anyway, that's what happened. Now, I hope this is relatively easy to follow because I'm jumping a little bit. But the reason everything happened exactly like it did, including the No National Cocaine Network, was because I wouldn't be doing this, right? I wouldn't be doing this, but you get the skill, the organizational skill, you just transfer it to something else. The point was everybody that's involved in this have played a part, but it's been a haphazard part. Everybody is still welcome, but it have to be a little bit more designed from our area at this go around. That's why I said the lady, if she called, boom, we'll finish the place up, can move in right there, and all the writings and everything can start categorizing. Perfect person to do all that stuff. Okay. She don't call us. That's it. That's all. Right? But if they do call, they have to outgrow these children, people like Abdul Malik, they're children. They're children. I mean, real live children. They don't know, they have not evolved into adulthood because how they view things. At least that's my view. They're like children. Okay, so that's what it means to say 1971, Uzu River, Medellin, Ronald Reagan, and everything else. This is a combination, a daily work schedule, confronting people because we have to evolve. Forrest Otto have not, we said you just fix everything and then give us 25,000 and call it a day. He hasn't done that. So you can do it or you don't have to do it. It doesn't make it, technically it don't make a whole lot of difference. Zakia, we call this signal diplomacy. You know, if you send a signal, remember the way the U.S. and Iran was doing they called it, when Clinton was the president, and Khatami was the president. It was called the signal diplomacy. Okay, you let us do this with, and kill the Taliban and fly over Iran. That's a signal for us. Then we'll send you a signal back. They send old George came in and put them on the, what did he call them? The evil, what is that thing?
Oh,
Access of evil.
Access of evil, right.
But that's called signal diplomacy. George sent a real good signal. He said, forget about Bill. But because Bill and them, they send smoke signals back and forth. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that finished that off real quick. So this is what it is, signal diplomacy. To-do list, we're into that already. Exercise. Da, 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 da. We're gonna fix the bookstore, roll the roof. We're gonna be doing something workish all day from now. Okay, the taxes came in today, or last. I'm afraid to look at them. We just open up the taxes maybe in a couple of days. But we're going to need a lot of help on them. In fact, this is what I'm going to attempt to do. Each time when we started over, we locked up all the old money. And we started with new money. Right now, only new money we got is $1,000. But it ain't bad. We started with 581. Of course, the government took it, you know, but it was up to $100,000. You remember that little piece of paper that had 581 on there? So, each time we cranked back, even during the visionary period and in the big period, like 68, we locked up the old money. At that time, it was only $25,000 before 68, and for that age, you know, 22, something that's nice, and 3 Cadillacs out there. That was not bad. In fact, it's the best that it was happening in the area, you know, at that time. And everything came from new money. So, if some of this stuff, if this stuff flows right, if the guy does his little fix the cars, 25, if not, we'll just go to South Africa in a couple of months and go there to travel all over the country and raise money. And we can raise money because we've been there before. I just catch the bus to all the places. If the big boys, if I show up all of these places in Cape Town, all in Johannesburg, Louis Trickett, there's so many places. Right? If I show up in all those places, and the big boys, oh, why they're not with you? Why? You was with them before. Okay. They got a crew, if they open the door, it's billions. If they don't, it's millions. How? Because each crew got another crew that don't like them. Yeah. Each crew got a crew that they don't like them. They're the baddest thing since sliced bread there. got this far with the lower string, hey. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. So that means their summer starts when ours end, so that may be up in October, November, and it's probably over by spring, the spring here. So, but that's part of the plan. If we live to that period, that's what we got on the plan. That if certain things do not fall into place here, we'll just go to South Africa and do it. I can spend as much time there as I want. And whatever happens, it's fine. It does make a difference. The other thing is, we have a story to tell. We have a pictorial story to tell. I want you to imagine that we're telling them. We already have a history of doing that with the revolutionary groups, Pagay and all of that. So we already got, now we've been there. Each time we was there, we raised funds for them. In fact, the last time I went, they heard I was going to come, so they invited me to come to speak about drugs before they, and just to cut. Now everybody's in tune now. Everybody, I said, no problem. No problem. That was 7, 8 years ago. But we'll roll through again. And there's people that will, by that time, the coronavirus and all that will be, we'll wait it all out.
It is hitting them pretty.
Yes, we ain't no rush, you know what I mean? Yeah, we'll take our time, but we ain't no rush with the people around here. This stuff is getting pretty, these people is going crazy. They just, they act like 165,000, 170,000 people is not a lot of people.
They act like it's imaginary. I don't know.
Imagine a town with 170,000 people.
Right.
Or soon to be 200. A town with 200,000 people. That's a nice sized joint. Okay, so cars, property, The title of this is forecasting. The reason I put forecasting as the title, because this is not new. All the stuff that I told you, we've been forecasting all along. And that not only gives you the confidence, but it forces you. It forces you to go for the goal, sister. Right? This is the track record. It's always been that, and that's what, and on every other level. Okay. Continuous historical challenge or opportunity is the same. Poverty, ignorance, and sickness. When we settle it all, that's what it's. But this part of New Worldism, see, we don't forget what our mission is. That's our mission all along. All of that is tied right in this with this. And just imagine, it's a privilege it's an honor and a privilege to do this stuff. Just to, suppose we didn't have any success. It'd still be an honor and a privilege just to give it a shot, right? To try to do good stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, and the last thing we did mention, the stuff we was talking about before, about gangs, about all that stuff, and even stuff we talk about today. There's so many things and incidents that have never even been mentioned. And, but all of it points to where we are now. All of it points to, we're not in a bad position. We're in a very good position. Because remember, we chose to be here. All those decisions, and I'll close with this, all those decisions a long time ago, my friends would not have looked at a picture right at the height of their career and said, I don't like that nigga, I'm not going to do that, right? They wouldn't do it. They haven't done it. Nobody, the Hollywood, they don't do that. They don't look at a picture and say, hey, right? None of the stars. They go get a psych for somebody to make them feel good, but they don't say, hey, something happened. You can change this, but it's going to cost you. No, not the cost of that. How many people going to know what the answer to a question on the quiz is and say no when they know they're going to go back to prison? But they got the right feeling when they come out of prison, they will be prepared to do everything. And if they do that, right? If they do that at that time and they're a success at doing that, you can scratch off the other stuff that you saw. You see what I mean? Those people don't do that. I don't think they do. Maybe somebody do. I just never read of nobody doing stuff like this. I haven't, if anybody have that, I have not heard about anything like this. I just haven't, maybe. So, anyway, are there any questions, any comments? Does this stuff seem to make some sense, some kind of way, sometime? This is a question. Does it make sense at least sometime?
Yeah, well, it's like, let's see, how can I word this? So like, you know how in the Prophet's time, the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, he'd have the, as a stratagem of war, he would have the Sahaba going in circles around like Medina to throw off informants. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, you know, I'd be trying to figure out, okay, is this like a strategic maneuver or we actually heading out this time?
No, we're heading out. Don't worry about that. No.
Okay, all right. That's all I need to know.
No. Everything is a strategic. After a certain part of life, you don't even have to, like the way I think, I don't have to say nothing to somebody and I thought about that and then I'm going to get this out. That's already done for me. It's automatic. I don't have to consciously. I don't have to consciously. No, remember when you're doing stuff so long, you don't have to consciously. A fighter is not always consciously fighting. He can be knocked out on his feet.
Right.
Yeah, like Charlie Shipes told me, he said Hearns hit Duran and spin him around. And Hearns, he could turn his hands over probably better than any fighter in history. You know, why he could, and he could hit. He said, now, Duran was doing this and doing that. He said he was out on his feet, but it's his training. His body knew, his being knew that Hearns was back there with them fists that could bust watermelons, right? And he was this is okay. sound spooky. I've been doing this stuff so long, it's really, technically, most of it is automatic. So when we consciously say this stuff right here, if you want to look at my old notes from years ago, you look at them and see if we did or we tried to do exactly what all of them said. No, the point is, none of this is like, this is not strategic traps. I'm going to go to people and I'm going to say to them, just like I said, I'm going to go to my friend when I go to California. I'm going to say, da-da-da-da-da. I didn't say it before. It was 50 years ago this stuff happened. It was almost 50 years ago a lot of this stuff happened. It was 40 years ago when the government pretended to take him down to Costa Rica to pretend that he got arrested down there so that this way I feel is the way my sons feel. Because nobody would ever bring drugs through Costa Rica, and they wanted to give him the reason why he did whatever he did with me. And it was unnecessary. So no, 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 no. The other thing to remember is no malice, la tatraba, no malice. Why no malice? No malice, because remember I told you that somebody I know spent the money to have somebody, you know, and the lady brought all the, what she smoked. Okay, so-and-so ain't acting right. Bring me film, bring me da-da-da package. And I took the package and I gave it to people in Africa and paid them to do the job. I didn't pay them. They was paid to do the job. They got a message later, forget it. None of it was valuable enough to change policies. So nobody ever have to worry about anything sinister. But as far as the truth, eventually we're going to get